What does it take to inspire a nation on the bink? Let's not sugarcoat it. Burkina Faso has been through the kind of challenges that could crush even the most resilient nations. Insurgent attacks, corruption scandals, displacement crises. Each of these alone could derail a country. Yet, against all odds, Captain Ibrahim Traoré stepped onto a stage at the flag-raising ceremony and dared to deliver a message of hope and action. This wasn't just any speech. It was a direct, unfiltered call to arms, not with weapons, but with purpose. Traoré didn't offer empty promises or lofty rhetoric. Instead, he laid out the truth. The road ahead would be gruelling, but the Burkinabe people have always risen to meet adversity head-on. So, he thinks, if the locals support him, they can tackle everything. But can they? Let's find out. What makes Traoré's approach so compelling is how personal it feels. He spoke not as a distant leader but as a member of the community, someone who understands the struggles and shares the burden. And he started with the one thing that has always defined Burkina Faso: resilience. But does that help? If you want to understand the soul of Burkina Faso, you have to start with its resilience. This is a country that has weathered colonial exploitation, decades of political instability, and the relentless threat of insurgency. Yet, the Burkinabe people refuse to break. Their ability to endure and rebuild, no matter how dire the circumstances, is the nation's greatest strength. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, in his speech, didn't just mention resilience as a buzzword. He celebrated it as the cornerstone of the nation's survival and its future. More importantly, he brought the concept to life with vivid examples, making it clear why resilience is not just a virtue, but a strategy for transformation. One of the most striking examples of resilience is the role played by the volunteers for the defense of the homeland VDP. These are ordinary citizens, teachers, farmers, shopkeepers, who've taken up arms to defend their villages against insurgents. Despite minimal training and resources, they've managed to reclaim territories and protect their communities. Consider the village of Arbinda in northern Burkina Faso. Once under constant threat from insurgents, the combined efforts of the VDP and the local community turned the tide. Armed with little more than determination and basic weapons, they organized patrols, built fortifications, and created safe zones for displaced families. Their courage not only protected their homes, but also inspired neighboring villages to stand up and fight back. This grassroots approach to defense has become a symbol of Burkina Faso's resilience. It shows that even in the face of overwhelming odds, unity and determination can prevail. But resilience isn't just about fighting back, it's about rebuilding. Traoré highlighted the efforts of women's cooperatives that are restoring farmlands ravaged by conflict. These cooperatives don't just provide food, they create livelihoods. Women in regions like Boucle du Mouhoun have banded together to plant crops, build irrigation systems, and sell their produce in local markets. Their work is not only feeding families but also reviving the rural economy. Youth-led initiatives are another beacon of resilience. In areas where schools have been destroyed by insurgent attacks, young people are stepping up to ensure education doesn't come to a halt. In Kaya, a group of university students started a makeshift school for displaced children, teaching classes under trees with whatever materials they could find. These initiatives, though small in scale, are monumental in impact. They prove that resilience isn't just about survival, it's about creating hope for the future. Even outside the context of conflict, resilience defines the everyday lives of the Burkinabe people. Farmers in the Sahel region, faced with erratic rainfall and soil degradation, have developed ingenious techniques like zai pits, a traditional method of planting that conserves water and restores fertility to the soil. These innovations have allowed communities to sustain agriculture even in harsh conditions, ensuring food security for thousands. Similarly, urban resilience can be seen in the bustling informal sector of cities like Ouagadougou. Street vendors, artisans, and small business owners have adapted to economic instability with creativity and resourcefulness, forming networks that provide mutual support and drive local economies forward. So, Traoré's emphasis on resilience isn't just about highlighting the past, it's about shaping the future. He pointed out that resilience offers a roadmap for systemic change. When communities rebuild schools, restore farmland, and organize a grassroots defense, they're not just reacting to challenges, they're creating solutions. However, Traoré also issued a warning. Resilience alone isn't enough. The sacrifices of these everyday heroes could be in vain if systemic issues like corruption aren't addressed. Resilience can build a foundation, but without accountability and good governance, it cannot sustain progress. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré spoke about corruption during his flag-raising ceremony speech, it wasn't just a condemnation, it was a reckoning. The tone of his address shifted dramatically, revealing the depth of betrayal by those entrusted with public resources. He called corruption what it truly is, a theft not just of money, but of futures. His revelations were more than just the usual headlines about bribery and embezzlement. They were an exposé of how deeply corruption had infiltrated areas no one suspected. Traoré peeled back the layers to show the systemic rot, shocking the nation to its core. One of the most damning examples came from the Ministry of Humanitarian Action, an institution meant to be a lifeline for displaced families and vulnerable communities. Traoré revealed that billions of CFA francs allocated for food, water, and medical aid had been funneled into private bank accounts. This wasn't just about numbers. It was about lives. Families displaced by insurgent violence, already living in dire conditions, were deprived of the necessities they desperately needed. Traoré detailed how camps for displaced persons had been left without sufficient food or clean water. Children were falling ill from preventable diseases, and schools in these camps were little more than makeshift shelters. Meanwhile, those responsible for this suffering were living in luxury. Investigations uncovered sprawling mansions, fleets of expensive cars, and overseas investments, all purchased with stolen aid money. Traoré's revelations sparked outrage, forcing the nation to confront the human cost of corruption. But the Ministry of Humanitarian Action wasn't the only place where corruption thrived. Traoré exposed how healthcare funding had been systematically misused, leaving clinics and hospitals unable to serve the public. In rural areas, medical facilities meant to treat malaria, malnutrition, and childbirth complications were left without proper equipment or medicine. Funds allocated for life-saving drugs had mysteriously disappeared, forcing doctors to rely on outdated supplies or turn patients away. Traoré highlighted the shocking disparity between the official budgets for these facilities and their actual conditions. For example, in the northern regions, several health centers reported receiving only a fraction of their allocated budgets. The rest? Diverted into the pockets of corrupt officials. These revelations didn't just shock the public, they exposed how corruption was actively endangering lives. Traoré also revealed a pattern of ghost projects that had drained development funds while producing nothing of value. Roads that existed only on paper, schools that were never built, and water projects that never delivered a drop were just some of the examples he cited. One particularly egregious case involved a multi-million CFA franc project to build wells in drought-stricken regions. The funds were allocated, contractors were paid, but no wells were ever dug. Communities that were promised clean water were left to continue relying on contaminated sources, leading to outbreaks of waterborne diseases. These ghost projects weren't just a waste of money. They were a betrayal of the communities that believed in the promises of progress. Traoré didn't stop at the national level. He brought attention to corruption among local officials as well. He revealed how some local leaders had misused public funds meant for community development. In one instance, a mayor in a small town had used public money to fund his business ventures, leaving local schools and health clinics underfunded and neglected. This grassroots-level corruption, Traoré argued, is often overlooked but has devastating consequences. It erodes trust in local governance and undermines community efforts to improve living conditions. The human cost of this corruption is staggering. Traoré didn't just list the numbers. He painted a vivid picture of its impact on ordinary citizens. Displaced families were left to fend for themselves in overcrowded camps. Pregnant women died during childbirth because clinics lacked basic supplies. Children dropped out of school because there were no teachers or materials. He made it clear that corruption isn't an abstract problem, it's a direct attack on the nation's most vulnerable. And the effects ripple outward, weakening the entire country. Trust in institutions crumbles, public morale declines, and progress stalls. But we all know misery. Is there any solution? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Is Traoré doing anything to fix Burkina Faso? Traoré's speech wasn't just about exposing corruption, it was about fixing it. He outlined a series of bold measures to hold perpetrators accountable and prevent future abuse. Traoré promised transparency in prosecuting corrupt officials. Luxury properties and bank accounts obtained through stolen funds are being seized and repurposed to benefit the public. New auditing mechanisms are being implemented to track public funds and ensure they reach their intended destinations. Traoré called on citizens to act as watchdogs, reporting suspicious activities and demanding accountability from local leaders. Government spending will now be tracked and published regularly, allowing the public to see exactly where their money is going. Traoré emphasized that this fight against corruption isn't just about punishing wrongdoers, it's about rebuilding trust. Without trust, even the most well-intentioned policies will fail. People need to believe that their leaders are working for them, not against them. By exposing corruption in areas no one expected, Traoré has not only shocked the nation, but also inspired hope that change is possible. His message is clear. The days of impunity are over, and the future belongs to those who choose integrity. Can we say, Burkina Faso is finally putting its people first? For decades, Burkina Faso's economic policies seemed designed to benefit the elite while leaving ordinary citizens to fend for themselves. Traoré's speech signaled a radical shift, a commitment to redirecting resources toward the people who need them most. One of the most pressing issues he addressed was access to clean water. In rural areas, many families still rely on unreliable wells or have to walk miles to fetch water. Traoré's administration is prioritizing projects to build wells and irrigation systems, turning this basic need into a cornerstone of development. Food sovereignty is another critical focus. Burkina Faso has vast tracts of arable land, yet much of it remains underutilized due to a lack of infrastructure. Traoré outlined plans to expand irrigation networks, provide farmers with modern tools, and promote sustainable agriculture. These initiatives aim to reduce dependence on imported food, create jobs, and boost local economies. Infrastructure development is also high on the agenda. Roads are being built to connect remote villages to markets, schools, and healthcare facilities. Renewable energy projects are being launched to bring electricity to underserved areas. These investments aren't just about improving living conditions, they're about empowering communities to thrive. Traoré's economic vision also includes reducing government waste. By cutting unnecessary administrative expenses, his administration is freeing up funds for essential services. This isn't just smart policy, it's a statement. It shows that the government is serious about putting its people first. In the end, he mentioned one thing that can save Burkina Faso in a matter of days. So, what is that quick fix? It is patriotism. But this isn't the kind of patriotism that stops at waving flags or singing anthems. It's practical patriotism, rooted in action, responsibility, and selflessness. For Traoré, it's the most potent tool the nation has to rebuild itself, and he made sure everyone understood exactly what he meant. Practical patriotism, as Traoré explained, isn't about grand gestures or symbolic displays of loyalty. It's about prioritizing the nation's well-being in everyday decisions. It's fixing what's broken, not waiting for someone else to do it. It's making choices that benefit the community, even when they come at a personal cost. This kind of patriotism doesn't require everyone to become a soldier or a politician. It starts with small but impactful actions, like doing your job with integrity. Whether you're a teacher, a farmer, or a mechanic, doing your job to the best of your ability contributes to the nation's progress. Traoré highlighted the tragic example of aircraft mechanics who sabotaged planes out of personal grievances. Their unpatriotic actions didn't just ground planes, they symbolized a deeper betrayal of the nation's collective effort. Buying from local farmers, mentoring young people, or volunteering in grassroots initiatives strengthens the social fabric, and this is also patriotism. Traoré emphasized that patriotism isn't about waiting for change to happen. It's about driving that change at the community level. One of the most critical aspects of practical patriotism is holding leaders and officials accountable. Traoré urged citizens to act as watchdogs, exposing corruption and demanding transparency. Traoré's vision of practical patriotism is powerful because it decentralizes the burden of rebuilding the nation. It's not just about what the government can do, it's about what every citizen can do. This collective responsibility transforms patriotism from a vague idea into a concrete strategy. Is it even effective? When citizens take charge of their communities, they solve problems faster than centralized systems can. Grassroots initiatives like repairing roads, organizing food drives, or teaching displaced children demonstrate how local action can have an immediate impact. Patriotism rooted in action fosters trust among citizens and between citizens and their leaders. When people see others working selflessly for the common good, it inspires them to do the same. Practical patriotism counters the "someone else will fix it" mindset. It empowers individuals to take ownership of their country's challenges, creating a culture of accountability and resilience. As Captain Ibrahim Traoré stood before his people, delivering his vision for a better Burkina Faso, he didn't pretend to have all the answers. He made it clear: no leader, no matter how strong or visionary, can rebuild a nation alone. It's a truth that many leaders shy away from, but Traoré embraced it, presenting it as both a challenge and an opportunity. This wasn't just humility, it was a call to action. Traoré's message was simple but profound. Real change requires collective effort. Millions of small actions taken by ordinary citizens can converge to create a wave of transformation that no single leader or policy could achieve on its own. Traoré highlighted grassroots movements as living proof of the power of collective action. Across Burkina Faso, communities are stepping up to address challenges that government resources alone can't solve. In villages devastated by conflict, locals have come together to rebuild roads, ensuring that farmers can transport their crops to markets and children can get to schools. Displaced families are being supported by neighbors who share food, clothing, and shelter, even when they have little to spare. One standout example is the resurgence of cooperative farming. In areas like the Sahel, farmers are pooling resources to rehabilitate degraded land, plant drought-resistant crops, and create food reserves. These efforts don't just provide sustenance, they create a sense of shared purpose and mutual support that strengthens the fabric of the nation. Traoré pointed to these initiatives as proof that collective action isn't just about filling gaps. It's about setting new standards for citizen engagement. When people work together to solve problems, they don't just improve their communities. They create a model for the nation to follow. A significant portion of Traoré's speech was dedicated to the youth, who make up more than 60% of Burkina Faso's population. Traoré sees them not as a burden, but as the nation's greatest asset. Young people have the energy, creativity, and courage to drive change, he said. But to unlock this potential, they need opportunities and guidance. Traoré's administration is investing heavily in vocational training, education, and entrepreneurship programs to equip the youth with the skills they need to lead. But Traoré's message to the youth wasn't just about opportunities, it was about responsibility. He urged them to be proactive, to challenge outdated systems, and to demand better from those in power. The future belongs to you, he said, but you must be willing to fight for it. Traoré emphasized that collective action isn't just about doing good deeds, it's about creating accountability. For a nation to truly thrive, its citizens must not only contribute to its growth, but also ensure that its leaders are held to the highest standards. Traoré closed this part of his speech with a powerful reminder. Burkina Faso doesn't belong to its leaders, it belongs to its people. Every farmer planting crops, every teacher mentoring students, and every volunteer supporting displaced families is a nation builder. Their contributions, no matter how small, are the foundation of progress. He acknowledged the harsh truth. There will be challenges, setbacks, and sacrifices. But with collective action, those challenges can be overcome. Together, citizens and leaders can create a Burkina Faso that thrives, not because of one person's efforts, but because of millions of people working as one. Traoré's call to action wasn't just a speech, it was an invitation to take ownership of the nation's future and to recognize that real power lies not in the hands of one, but in the hearts of many. So, what's next for Burkina Faso? Captain Ibrahim Traoré's message wasn't just a speech, it was a manifesto for change. Resilience, accountability, economic reform, patriotism, and collective action aren't just ideals, they're a blueprint for transformation. The challenges ahead are immense, but so is the potential. With a leader who believes in his people and a nation ready to rise, Burkina Faso has the tools to overcome any obstacle. The question now isn't whether change is possible, it's how far the Burkinabe people are willing to go to achieve it. Do you think Burkina Faso is making long-term plans? How do you see these plans turning out? Let us know in the comment section. Is the future of Burkina Faso secure? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.